All right, everybody, welcome in. So, this is Real Talk with Spoon and Puddin. I'm the one and only Big Spoon.
Puddin.
What's up,
So,
Puddin?
not much.
Let's get the disclaimer out of the way. The primary purpose of this podcast is to educate and share our thoughts and opinions. When we have proof and evidence on a topic, it will be brought forth. This podcast does not constitute advice or services to anyone. Spoon and Puddin do not accept any responsibility or liability for our guests or anyone's comments or actions based on the material we talk about on our podcast. This podcast is for private and non commercial use, and everyone should ascertain that the information we provide is correct and verified at all times. There shall be no adding to, editing, or reproduction of this podcast without prior written permission from Spoon and Puddin. You can reach us at Real Talk with Spoon and Puddin at Gmail. What's going on today, Puddin?
No, just what did we talk about last night a bit? You got
Dive
the
right
volume
in.
up.
Now, you don't hear that, do you?
Is that me? Maybe it's me. I don't know.
Let's see.
But no, what was it? I had a yesterday. Guy across the street started messaging me about flat Earth, and I was telling him, "Don't you understand that this is like part of the Overton window?" And if people don't know what that is, there's a couple good videos about it. It's a philosophy of shifting political debates from radical to absurd, and it was really, I told him, I said, while you're sitting here arguing with everybody about flat Earth, and we're trying to go hot war with Russia, does a nuclear missile care if it's a round or a flat Earth? Honestly, you know. I said, while you're sitting over here distracted about something that we used to consider solved, it's kind of like, no, you need to really understand the philosophy of the Overton window and Hegel and all these people. Because it's just kind of one of these things where it's like, no, we shouldn't be arguing about this. Whether it's just so absurd that it shifts everybody's dynamic and thinking to a point where it's like, okay, all right, we're actually going to have this conversation. And that's where I don't get it. But no, there's some philosophies like Occam's razor and things like that. But I just thought it was kind of funny yesterday. I'm like, why don't you come over here and talk to me? We'll talk about it. But I didn't really have a whole lot to say. You were saying something before we got started that might be more up your alley about some voting on a. You got your mic muted.
Well, I think it might be better off. It might get higher ratings if I leave it muted.
Oh, come on.
There's some people out there that don't have open minds. They're really closed minded and narrow minded, so they don't like the
Like,
truth coming out.
I have an open mind, but I believe that Newton and a lot of people you know kind of figured out that all the planets are round. Not to mention they've tested it in the space shuttle and stuff. They pretty much know they're round.
Well,
Creates balls.
you was talking about uh, that guy talking about the pyramids and all that lined up with the stars.
Yeah, well,
Even the Egyptians figured out the Earth was round.
oh yeah. No, they knew the Earth was round. It's not like there's a Pyre maps or something or is it Pi Ramsey maps? These old maps from an Indian general that appear to be drawn from space above the Great Pyramid. But like I said, I believe that we had once upon a time, say 12,000 years ago, had better technology than we do today. Probably.
Well,
I mean,
some people believe, and my dad, he's kind of on that fence too. The technology that was needed to build those pyramids. He don't,
You
you
know.
know, a lot of people don't believe that the Egyptians did it themselves. That there was
Oh, the
people from other
story,
planets, or
whether it was people from other planets or just people with technology that we can't even fathom today did it, is what I think. I mean, to sit there and listen to the way they tell you they built them, it's like, no, I'm calling bullshit on that.
well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, it would take a very long time, just like the Vikings. You know, they used to move their ships across uh, miles of land to other uh, waterways. You know, they,
In the grand scheme of things, their ships really weren't all that big. You know,
what? But a ship is a ship, buddy.
I, a ship is a ship, but I would fair to say that we've got dually trucks that pull ships down the road without a permit today that are way heavier
Well,
and
I'm
bigger.
sure, but
You
you got to constitute it. Well, they had a ship that carried 200 men. They had a ship that carried 500 men. Well, the ships that carried 200 men wasn't that big. Well, when you're trying to move it across land, 5 or 10 miles to another waterway, it's a freaking ship, dude. It takes a lot of manpower and a lot of time to do that. um, sorry, but that's what I was getting at. Like when I said my mic was muted. Uh, there's a lot of people that their mind is closed to only what they want to know and what they believe. Uh, Knowledge is a very useful tool and a very powerful tool if you're open your mind to it. Since we started this podcast, I've been labeled many things, which is, you know, put whatever label you want on me. And I guess you get a little backdraft from that because you're on here with me. Uh, there's
I
people.
don't know. I don't care.
Well, there's people that think I hate cops, which is false. Uh, I hate bad policing and corrupt police. There's people that think I am just trying to start trouble when the things that we bring out is public knowledge, and most of the people want to know because this is stuff being done with taxpayer dollars and abuse of our time and our money. Uh, so you name it, I've been called this and that, and we've been labeled this and that. But if you don't want to hear it, don't listen to it.
Turn it off.
I mean,
No.
nobody's forcing you. If you don't want to hear the evidence and truth that we bring to you, that most of the people do want to know about, that's a lot of the stuff that's been swept under the rug. Turn us off. I mean, we're not. Nobody's forcing you. Um, and you can
I
label.
mean,
You can
I'm
label
not
me.
not anti cop. I'm not anti cop. I think we've got way too many of them.
Well, of course we
Honestly,
do. And and in,
I
and
mean,
in this town, we have a lot of good and probably great police officers, and I appreciate them for their service. Uh, that's a job that I wouldn't want to do. But just because we have a lot of good ones doesn't mean we don't have some bad ones. And what's a good police officer's worst enemy? It's a bad police officer. And if you have 30 good ones and 5 bad ones, and 20 or 25 of those good ones cover for the bad ones,
they're
they're
just
just as they're just as
you're
bad.
culpable. You're culpable.
And I'm not saying
Um,
that's going on. I'm just using an example. Um, so you can label me what you want. The people that know me know better, and if they don't, well, something's wrong. And before you put a label on me,
Spoon, I
come
thought
talk.
you wanted all of them fired.
No, no, sir. No, We got
No,
some. We got some really good ones, and some of them I've interacted with a few times. Like I'm not going to say his name, I guess, because I mean it's public knowledge.
you don't lump him next to you.
Well, I was gonna highlight one of the good ones. I don't even know how to say his name right. I think it's well, he was the one up there when I done the audit on the police station. I think it was Sabian or whatever. He seems
Oh,
like
when I was there.
yeah, it seemed like he's a
Okay.
very good professional, toe the line kind of officer.
Well,
He'd have
how long did that take? Like 10 minutes for him to get somebody to come out in the lobby?
well, yeah,
That was,
that wasn't his fault though.
I know it
But,
wasn't his. I didn't say it was his fault. I'm saying they were like, "What the hell's going on here?"
yeah, that's fine. But all I'm saying is, before you want to put a label on somebody, find out what they're all about. And if you don't want to open your mind and obtain the knowledge to make the right determination, and you don't want to listen to us, just turn us off. It's plain and simple.
But no, I didn't have a lot to talk about today. I watched all my normal podcasts through the week, and apparently, one thing that caught my interest this week was the fact that they said there's a baby formula shortage or something.
Yeah, the shortage they created.
Oh well, they don't create. No, it was Putin created it. Putin
Oh
had
yeah,
the foresight to. Putin had the foresight to go back 3 months and poison some of the baby formula. So
oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Putin bad, Biden good. Nobody in government does anything wrong.
So it went from Orange Med bad to now Putin bad.
Yeah, yeah. But they probably got video of Putin peeing on Trump over there or something. I don't know.
Well, see, that's another thing that people can't open their minds to. That most of the population is so blind to it. You know, we went from Rona, which everybody was fighting about, to now you got the R&D fighting about Roe versus Wade and abortion. Where did Rona go? It's gone.
It's all part of the Overton window. That's why I brought that up today.
Nothing,
If you,
nothing ever happens by circumstance. It's all by design.
no, they're good. They're basically they know what they're doing. They're not stupid.
Exactly.
They know.
But
I
but
mean,
people but people line up like blind sheep to the slaughter, and they just suck that controlled media in and follow it, the clickbait to a T, and they know they're going to. That's why it's so easy for them to do it. Mr. Trump even said in an interview, he said, "I can stand here and lie to the people and tell them I'm lying, and they will still follow me." All right. He's not the only one that said that in various terms or words.
no, they all know it. I mean, look how they lined up behind Weekend at Biden's. They're just following him like it's just boy.
Look how many people followed Hitler. You know.
Oh, they threw roses at the man's feet. They loved him.
Yeah.
Uh, Especially whenever he took Paris and everything when he had the French and he won. Yeah, they absolutely adored that man for that. They got their revenge. He gave it to them. But that
But,
was still that was even looking at it in a historical context. If you go back and look at it and you see the Overton window effect there, he was so far radical, but he was able to shift the window to his radical side of, you know, the inflation, hyperinflation, and the Weimar Republic and all that, and you know, he got everyone to believe that it was all the French's fault for the what was it, Treaty of Versailles or whatever. He made everybody believe that was the reason that you could have a wheelbarrow full of Reich marks and somebody would dump your Reich marks on the ground and take your wheelbarrow because it was more valuable.
yeah.
You know, And I mean, hell, see, my favorite topics are the banks and trying to fix the elections. Those are my two favorite topics.
We can't speak on the election.
Oh, we can talk about fixing them. We're not talking about the freest and fairest election of 2020.
Yeah, we could speak on the future elections, not the past elections.
Yeah, no, that was the freest and fairest, and Biden was the most voted for president in history, if you
Yeah.
believe that.
But you talked about the Treaty of Versailles. That's what I say, Versailles, and how he had them so convinced that it was the French's fault. That's the exact same thing is going on in our country now. They're convincing.
Well, I mean, when we first started talking years ago, I mean, the whole reason I wanted to come to Tennessee was because of my fears of inflation from what they were doing in 2008. And that was the whole reason I wanted to come to be on some land, and get away from packed cities. That's the reason. That's the main reason. That the main driving factor.
Well, we all knew it was going to come home to roost, and when they started this stimulus crap that me and you were totally against, we knew what was going to happen. We just didn't know how long it was going to take. And now
I'm surprised it took as long as it did, honestly.
So that now all the people that wanted the free stimmy money of these 1,000 pages of the package that they passed, that none of them read because it had very little to do with the people of this country, because they don't care about the people, and they just kept printing money to now our money is not very valuable, to say the least. You got this super inflation. Now they've falsely created these shortages, just like when they keep them ships out and say, well, we got shortages and we can't get these ships in. It's all by design. All right. They got to keep the little working man down, just like the Rona. It was all by design. What they do, they destroyed the little man and the businesses. The rich got richer. The poor got poorer. The same thing's happening now.
I mean, I don't know exactly how long back the baby formula thing actually got. I know there was one company that had some lawsuits or infections or something, and then basically they had to do a recall. And there's only like 4 companies that manufacture it, but it's not like the toilet paper where everybody needs it. It's only the people with children.
Make your own. Make your own formula.
No, we're woke these days. We don't. Why put everybody on the tit?
I mean, use some goat's milk. There's plenty of goats in this country. You don't need that poison.
Well, that's not FDA approved.
Yeah,
you can't.
But do we need to pull up the list of things?
The government hasn't put their little wand of blessing on it.
Do we need to pull up the list of the FDA things that is approved, opposed to the things that
are very bad.
Isn't approved? Yeah.
No. Well, they're only approved if you got a lot of money.
Well, exactly.
And you can donate. That's when things get approved.
That should have been the number one knowledge kicker to most of the people, was when we were going through the big Rona deal, and they come out and said, well, this shot was just approved by the FDA. That should have been your first inkling to turn the other freaking way and run. All right. Anything that the
vaccine tag.
No, I'm just saying that. I'm just saying on that standpoint. What's if you had any question in your mind and you were swaying either way when they came out and said, well, the FDA disapproved this, that was your hint, you're slapping the head to say, no, I don't want this. And then and all this going on, Pfizer come out, was it last week or week before, and nobody's talking about it, and said they were totally wrong.
The 50,000 page dump or whatever.
Yeah, about the shot. They were wrong about the shot, and pregnant women shouldn't.
some guy tweeted out and he highlighted the part of the page where it says that it's not recommended for nursing mothers. Well, now you got a baby formula problem. Anybody that's about to have a baby, oh, well, hey, if you already got the vaccine, sorry for your luck, but it says it in there. It's not.
That's what I'm telling you. Put the
It's not
pieces
known if it's
together.
safe. Oh yeah.
It's all by design. Put the pieces together.
I called it a political rope-a-dope from a long time ago. You've got, the right and the left, and usually, to me, I've noticed you have more, nasty gun control come from the Republicans. And the reason being is the left person can't touch it because it's a hot potato. Just like, now Biden, I don't even know what that cat don't even know what day it is probably, but you've got,
where we at?
I don't is this Disney World? Oh, wait a minute, Neverland Ranch, my favorite place to sniff hair. But you've got like Obama. Obama did do a lot of drilling and he pushed a lot of pipelines, and the left didn't say a word. They weren't mad about it. They didn't. They weren't looking at him. They said, "That's our guy. We ain't got to watch him." Just like the asleep at the wheel Republicans when Trump comes in and says, "Well, Vegas was a bump stock, so we've got to get rid of those."
Yeah.
Or we need to do some red flag laws. Oh, really? Wow, isn't that?
That's why me and you both told people that in 4 years Trump spent almost double the money that Obama did in 8 years, and he done more to take away your guns in 4 years than Obama did in 8 years, because Obama didn't do much to take away weapons, right? And the same people that are in
Obama gave a lot of lip service to it, and he signed a lot of orders that had 0 teeth. It was like a dog, like a 16-year-old dog whose all their teeth would fall out, and you had to feed them baby food.
Right.
That was, he sold some gun. He was a good gun salesman. I'll tell you that. That's what Obama was. Then Trump come in and everybody went to sleep. And I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute. He just said red flag laws. You take the guns and then you go to court to prove it. What? That's a violation of 2 amendments, not 1.
Yep.
Due process. I mean, come on, people. Yeah. You don't go to sleep on this man. You hold his feet to the fire.
And most people don't understand this. The same assholes, crooked assholes in Washington that are already stealing your money and taking away your rights are passing these laws to take away your constitutional rights to defend yourself and own a weapon, while they have armed security guards defending them, walking around taking your rights.
They're defending them with weapons that are too dangerous for you to own.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you can find one before 1986 and afford it. But,
well, you know what the Constitution says. If you can afford a military tank, you got to be able to have one sitting in your front yard.
Well, that was what the founders said. But then they'll stand up there and tell you can't have a cannon. Yeah, right. That ain't the case. People wrote. Who was it that wrote? Was it? I think somebody wrote James Madison, or was it John Jay or something? They said, "Well, does the Second Amendment apply to cannons?" Absolutely, absolutely, it does. If you can afford it, you want to buy it, go buy it. Because it wasn't about hunting. And that's the thing. Me and Red talk about that all the time, about the guys in the NRA who are old fuds that say you don't need nothing more than a bolt action gun. That's not what it was for. It wasn't for hunting deer. It was a line of defense is what it was for. Imagine if Ukraine had a Second Amendment, for a couple of years. There's a possibility if they had a Second Amendment and they used it, I don't know if Russia would have even walked in there.
What does it say in our Constitution? What did the forefathers say? the freedom to bear arms.
Oh, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
But what was the one mainstays that they put that in there? To defend yourself against your own government.
Oh yeah,
Your
no, they
own
knew
government.
Oh, they knew. You know, you got Jefferson's letter about Tree of Liberty and all that stuff. But that's, the next thing you know, they're going to try to put a "Don't Tread on Me" flag on us and talk about how we're so, we're domestic terrorists. No, not really. I just want freedom. It's all I ever want. It's all I want for anybody out there. I want you to have freedom.
I didn't
Just
see
like
the
y'all should
comment.
want the same. Oh, about the
Baby formula.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that is now seen.
it's an old problem. It took a while. It's an older problem. It took a while for it to rear its head. But it's just like the toilet paper thing. Once people started hearing about it, the same thing that goes on in the stock market. Everybody runs out and buys it because they think, "Oh, I can get rich. I'm gonna use this. You know, sell it to people who need it." But then there are some people who need it that they'll call people in other states and say, "Hey, can you find some baby formula and ship it to me?" It's a problem. Mm. It's like toilet paper was a problem. How many people ran out and bought? I seen assholes up there at Meyer and Bowling Green up there, full of toilet paper, and I was looking at them and I was like, you need all that to wipe the person behind the buggy handle, you know. Might as well just wrap yourself in it, you piece of shit. That's kind of the way I looked at it. But I was lucky. I bought them little bidet attachments. I still love them. They were nice. It's a nice, fresh, clean.
I
You look immersed in something.
was trying to research something.
We'll talk about what you was talking about before we started.
Well, one thing I wanted to hit on. It's an issue we have ongoing in our town, but it has nothing to do with it has very little to do with the city. It has more to do with the people. And I wanted to go on a little rant here and explain to the people. Portland Little League. People were getting on and they're complaining left or right about how the park looks run down at times, and it's the bathrooms are dirty and things of that nature. And they're comparing that park to Richland Park, where Dixie plays. All right. People want to break this down to you, okay? Richland Park, where Dixie ball is played, is a taxpayer funded facility, meaning the employees of the city that works for the Parks Department keep up those fields, keep the bathrooms clean, the trash taken out, all the things that the lights fixed, all the things pertaining to maintaining that baseball facility is because our tax dollars and the city workers. All right. It's owned by the city. Portland Little League baseball at Elvis Brown Park is owned by the children of this community. When Elvis Brown died and passed away in his will, he willed it to the children of the community. All right. It is run by sponsor money, if they can get them. The fees of sign-ups when you sign your kid up. What money doesn't cover the shirts and hats and that thing and the insurance. The rest goes towards maintaining the ballpark, which is very little. The rest is run by volunteers. Okay, so you cannot compare a volunteer maintained facility that's not owned by the city to a city taxpayer-funded city employee maintained facility. All right. And I posted this on Facebook on one of those things when there's people complained about it. They complained about, I've been up there. I've been a part of that Portland Little League in that park for over 35 years. As a player, a coach for many, many years. I sit on the board, umpire, volunteer, you name it. All right. My dad was up there coaching. I played there. My children's played there. I still have some children playing there. I told these people on this page, instead of continuing to complain about how dirty it is, donate 5 or 10 minutes every day you're up there at that park to take the trash out, to pick the trash up around the park. You know, get a rag and some cleaner and wipe down the bathrooms, because if the volunteers don't do it, it don't get done. Okay. The reason that park is run down is because over the years, most of the parents, I'm not saying all, use it as a babysitter. All right. Some of these kids play, and they've been playing for years, and the only time you see mom or daddy is at sign up time. They show up to sign them up, and the rest of the time, mom or daddy drops them off, or they ride their bike, and the coach is the babysitter. And the coaches don't get paid. They're volunteers, okay? They're up there cleaning up fields and getting fields ready and cleaning bathrooms and coaching your kids and being the babysitter, while you get on Facebook and complain that the 2 or 3 times you showed up, the bathroom was dirty. And how many times have you volunteered to clean up? Now, I'm not saying this to everybody, because there's a lot of volunteers. And I know there's some bad decisions that are made by that board up there, okay? Mm-hmm. I'll be the first to tell you, I've had my battles with the board as a coach. All right. But at the end of the day, you got to leave that to the side and think about the park that is owned by the children, okay? So if you got kids playing t-ball, is your 3, 4, and 5-year-old going to clean the bathroom? No. Mom and daddy, who has that kid playing, volunteer and help clean up. Same thing with the coach pitch kids. All right. When you get up to the bigger girls and bigger boys, yes, they can help do their fair share. But in order for that park to succeed, be maintained, and be halfway clean and presentable, that is owned by your kids, it takes everybody. All right. You know, when they tell you it takes a village.
Yeah. Well, what you're talking about was, we already see government doesn't care how big the check is. They'll write it. Like the comparison, you know, you don't, that's not even, I don't even know that's an apples and oranges. That's more like a carrot and an apple or something.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
But
no, that's government don't care. They do not care.
But what I'm saying, this goes back to the narrow-minded people. They don't want the knowledge. They want to complain to the board. They want to complain on social media, and they don't want to do anything. And then when you try to tell them and show them the truth and the path of why it is the way it is, they don't want to hear it, right? All they want to do is complain about what ain't been done and what ain't happening.
Yeah, it was like, speaking on that, I'll talk something, just thought of something. Last week or the week before, I was calling some doctors around Portland. I was thinking about switching doctors, and there's a lot of them just won't. They aren't taking new clients, and we only take people with Sigma insurance. Now, we've got good insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield. You know, we pay a lot for it. And basically, they said, well, you can call us in July. We'll be looking into other options. Right now, we're only taking Medicare. And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, here's somebody comes with a private insurance, but you'd rather take Medicare?
Well, because that's guaranteed
government doesn't
money.
Care. Government
that's
don't
guaranteed
care. They'll
money.
Write that check.
Exactly.
You know, just like Richland Park.
But whose pocket does that come out of? Mine and yours.
We get it's taken from the barrel of a gun. That's the way it's taken from.
You know, just like we talked.
Of imprisonment.
we talked, I think it was last week or week before, about this regime and setting mayor up here in town that's spending money like we're the Kardashians. They don't care. They don't they donate money to, I'm sure, Dixie over there. Besides just the maintenance stuff, I'm sure they probably donate a little bit of money to them to go. They
Well, they
hand
let some table scraps. So here you go. Here's some little league people.
they hand the chamber $20,000 right off the top, day one. Here's your 20 grand. You know how much money they donate to Little League? I guarantee you it's zero. All right. But they'll tell you that they care about the people and they care about the children of this community. If they did,
that comment's going to speed up your FOIA request. Hurry up, send them the thing, show them we sent some money to Little League.
yeah. Well, speaking on that, I requested this stuff on April 28th, and today is May 15th.
You got to slow down. You can't expect everything all at once.
Well, no, I told them they can send it to me a piece at a time, but apparently, after the first bunch of information I got, now they're going to just make me wait and hold it all at once. Which I sent a few emails and called, and I finally got a response back from the reporter. And this is not all her fault because all this information comes from other departments. She's just the one that sends it to me, but she sent an email with a letter stating that with the amount I requested, I got to give them time. Okay. So if my calculations are right, it's been 18 days already, and I have nothing to show for it. So how much time do I have to give you? Because
you've got that one officer's timesheet.
Oh my God. Yeah. I got the timesheets. All right. So out of a list
you got two of them. It was one was redacted and one was whoops.
Yeah. but we're not going to get into that yet because I don't have all the other stuff. But in your policy it says in a reasonable amount of time. Is that a reasonable amount of time to normal people, or is it what you determine as a reasonable amount of time? And I know
on your perception.
Exactly. And I know what they're thinking. And a lot of other people think, well, this was Strawberry Festival week and this, that. What does that have to do with the price of milk in China? You still have a job to do. You still have a process. And open a records request is part of your job. That's why they're called open records.
But they work for the mayor. They don't work for the taxpayer. It's a joke. It really is. It's kind of just one of the things where it's like, let's just get some marshmallows and some graham crackers and sit down and watch this. Just watch the ship go down.
I know that he has a lot of support because he's a politician and he knows how to do his photo ops and his little videos, and
he knows how to lie while he's smiling at you.
So he knows how to pad the hands and smack the butts and kiss the babies and all that. But if the people of this community don't get out and vote, or two, they do go out and vote and they still vote this. I don't care if Goofy or Mickey Mouse is running against him. If you vote him back in, you're going to see a bigger detriment to the city than you've already seen. And if you're not seeing it, you need to go to the eye doctor, then the ear doctor. Then you need to get you a new computer, a new phone, because you're not paying attention.
Like we already talked about, you're going to have to get 3 good people as alderman and somebody else as mayor to stand firm against the power.
Well,
you was just talking about the small plot or whatever. Do you have anything on that or no?
Well, I'm not going to say any names, but I'm going to talk on this a little bit. This past zoning planning committee meeting, it come back before the committee for a vote of a minor subdivision. They put all the paperwork in the motion, paid all the fees. They're good to go for a minor subdivision. In the city's procedures, their zoning and everything, it states that a minor subdivision is 2 or less plats. Plain as day, right? A major is 3 or more with some other defining stuff. But what they were requesting, and they put the paperwork in for a minor, all right? But they were requesting approval for a major because they decided they were going to take one of the 2 plats and divide it to make 3. So automatically it goes to a major. So the developer, or the representative for developer, was there requesting that the board go ahead and approve this subdivision as a major, even though all the paperwork and monies filed and procedures that were followed were for a minor subdivision. Well, with much deliberation, one of the committee members threw out a motion to turn it down. They seconded it, and they had a vote. Well, with the abstains and all that, it failed because you didn't have a quorum. So a little more deliberation on it, and one of the committee members brought up, well, let's make a motion to pass it. Second, they voted on it. So with the no votes and the abstain votes, it didn't pass because it didn't meet a quorum. So then went to much more deliberation. So it's already failed. All right. It already failed. It didn't pass because you didn't meet a quorum. So now you got to just defer it to the next meeting. Let them come back with the right paperwork. And the whole ordeal was because this representative for developer, and he may be part of the group, I don't know. I just know he was there in representation of them. The whole reason that he wanted the board to go ahead and pass it is so they didn't have to wait another 30 or 60 days. In the committee, they went back and forth and said, we got a procedure and you got this, and it's going to be a slippery slope. And if we was to pass it for you, then all the people that came before you and all the people that come after you would expect us to do the same for them. And what about the ones we didn't do the same for? So after it seemed like forever deliberation between all this, it's like all of a sudden they decided, well, we're going to re-vote. You've already turned it down. All right.
It's already down twice.
Well, the first time it did.
The first time was no, and it didn't meet.
Right.
And the second time was yes, it didn't meet.
So it should have been off the table, right? But they continued to deliberate, and then they said, well, we're going to re-vote.
So they person proposing this must have said, slipped them a thing, said, we'll give you a $10,000 campaign check.
So you still had a 1 or 2 abstains, but it met a quorum, and it passed. So the people that is representing the city and the people went against the procedures of the city when it comes to zoning and mapping. They went against the zoning and mapping codes. They went against the recommendations of the city staff and against the recommendation of the city attorney, who told them to defer it, do not pass it. Either vote no or defer it to the next week so they get the next month so they get the paperwork order. So after all that deliberation and it failed, they re-voted and went against everything they should have went against and passed it. And I'm going to say this
again: certain people got special privilege.
Let me say this: I didn't go back and rewatch and touch up my facts on this, so I may be wrong, but I don't think I am. I'm pretty sure this was a Collins subdivision that was being represented in this. I say that because, well, I'm talking about people in general. I'm just saying that's
what you should be looking for is the people who were wronged by this, who have deep pockets, who want, go in and teach the city a legal lesson that you can't do things like that.
But what I'm saying, this affects everyone, because if somebody got turned down and they want to bring up a lawsuit, or somebody in the future comes and they deny them and they want to do a lawsuit, who does that ultimately hurt?
Well, now you can't going forward, technically.
What do you mean?
Well, how can you deny somebody if
What
somebody followed the exact procedures
what I'm saying
that
is,
took
if they
place
were
here?
to deny somebody when
Well,
they've
that would be
already,
but if you're a developer and you want to develop now, you have precedent to use this as an easy way in and then get your bigger major subdivision. And what's the city going to say if you were asking for it and they said, "Oh, well, this is against the laws," and I'd be like, "Don't make me send my lawyers after you after what you just did."
exactly.
You know,
So,
because
but
we'll
that's
go
my
there.
point. If they turn somebody down in the past, which they have,
Oh,
if they
well,
wanted, if they,
that's who you need to reach out to.
I don't really want to get in the middle of that. I'm just making the point
Uh,
that
well, anyone watching who knows somebody who was turned down in the past, you know, well,
that's gonna hurt me too. The point I'm making is
oh
any
well, look,
any,
it shouldn't have hurt you.
but it's going to.
The rich crybabies in town should have been told, "No, you're going to do it right. You'll come back in 30 days. We don't care."
I mean,
You
it's
know that.
unfortunate. It's unfortunate because
Look,
I forgot his name.
I'm not a person. Look, I'm not a person who's for government red tape by no means. However, if you're doing this to people in the past, then you can't do it just because of their name, you know,
And and and,
or
and,
their convenience.
and I'm going to say I follow on both sides of this because the guy that represented the development, or at the meeting anyway, everything he said was exactly right, right? And I feel for him. Well, we don't want to have to wait another 30, 60 days. We've already paid all our money, da, 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 da. I absolutely get all that. But you have policies and procedures in place for a reason.
Again, we don't want to wait 30 days, even though we moved the goalpost before the meeting. I mean, let's not forget why that happened.
Well, here's another thing. It was brought up at the previous meeting, and they deferred it. All right, and all this stuff was supposed to have been over, and the city attorney was in on it, and he didn't respond until 15 minutes into this latest meeting. All right, so he had a whole 3 weeks or whatever, I think, from when the time the email was sent, and failed to respond. Okay, I get all that. And that was one of the reasons they went back and revoted, was because, well, we should have handled this the better, and the city should have done this, and the attorney should have got back with us. So we feel like that the due diligence wasn't done, and we need to revote on this because that doesn't matter.
That attorney's got other cities. You know, we're not
Yes,
that important.
exactly. But that's irrelevant. None of that matters. It doesn't matter who dropped the ball on the email or given the advice, whether you had 10 attorneys. The point is, you have policies and procedures that everyone has to follow and go by. How unfortunate it is for that development and the people that are behind the money want those houses to go in. It doesn't matter what your name is. As unfortunate it is that I see in Puddin sees of the red tape of the policies and procedures are what they are. It should have been turned down. You should have been forced to go back and refile your paperwork the right way. And if you have to wait another 90 days, it is what it is.
But they wouldn't even have needed the request if they would have just said, "Okay, fine, we'll leave it at 2." Right?
Right.
It was already approved. You didn't need to do anything. But it's great in the end. It's people seeing blood in the street, and it's like, I don't mean how much blood.
This is my opinion on the matter. All right. In the verbiage of our city's policies on the minor and major, they're a little contradictory. All right.
They were written by government, man. It's as good as your favorite book.
This is the best. This is the best I can explain to you. I feel like this guy that's representing development, seeing those contradictions and said, "Hey, we can push this through I could fill out all the paperwork and we can pay all the information, and we can apply for this as a minor, which they did. And with the contradictions, if we want to, because we already talked about splitting, if we want to split that and make it 3, we'll be able to get that all through because they don't really know what's going on, and their policies and procedures are really contradicting each other when you go from a minor to a major. So I think he thought he was smarter than what they were and what the paperwork was. And it turns out he was right because he eventually got it through.
He's smarter than the government.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of those.
Maybe that's why he doesn't work for the government. Oh, that's right. But like I said, I understand that you wouldn't want a lawsuit because they're only going to come after you for it. I mean, your daughter, your youngest daughter, is already going to be paying the current bill.
That's before the extra $6 million that they voted on they could borrow. So, right now we're probably paying out. So it's somewhere between 2035 and 2045, and then you add $6 million on that. I mean, let's just keep adding to it. I mean, what else we need to do?
You should be an advocate to get all your children out into the country and say, "Hey, go buy a house in this city."
Oh, by the way,
again, the powers that be that are sitting there mad at Spoon or anything.
Yeah.
How about stop the city tax on him, and then you'd give your vote up, right?
Oh, you don't tax my land. You don't tax my land.
No.
You don't.
If you could make a choice, I'll give you my city voting privilege if you give me county taxes and stop making me pay for your bullshit.
Sure.
No, it's a simple solution. Then you'd never go in City Hall again. Maybe we can help get your taxes down.
That's what my point I was making to the people that want to hate on me. You can hate on me all you want. I got thick skin. But to turn a blind eye and make me out to be the bad guy when I give you knowledge that you didn't have, or maybe knowledge that you turned a blind eye to, and I give that to other people and tell them what's happening, and then you want to hate me. You know the old saying, don't hate the player, hate the game?
Oh, shoot the messenger, I'd say.
Don't shoot the messenger. Don't be mad at me because of the things that y'all know who I'm talking about, tried to cover up and thought would stay silent and quiet and nobody would know about. You're mad at me because I brought it out. Why are you mad at me for? It's public information that you try to cover up. If you would just brought it out to begin with and handled it the right way, then you wouldn't be mad at me.
It would have blew over in 2020 if you'd have done it right. It would have been out. People would have been fired. But that was just the first incident. You've got these other ones. You just opened another one up with the, and again, like I said, I don't agree with government bureaucracy. I hate it. But, if it's in place and you've denied people in the past, and now you have no grounds to, this is the exact playbook that any developer should follow. If it's cheaper to get the development started as a minor and then push it to a major, this is the exact, that's the game plan.
Yep. Yeah, but you think, if you think that development and that subdivision had the Cole name on it, or the best name on it, or some random name, do you think it would have went down like that in this town? Absolutely not.
Oh no, you'd been kicked out of here.
And let me guess, I would probably bet my life savings, my retirement, and all of my Social Security when I come of age to get it, that the money that's going to be loaned for that development, that subdivision, is going to come from one of two banks. Or bank what?
A few.
Ding, 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 ding. You're the winner, man. You're the winner.
Well, we already know where it's coming from. You know where the money hands fingers are. It's like they're an evil cabal up in Bank FU. The occasional blood sacrifice.
A lot of people love the reference Bank FU, except for those that have
Inside.
their fingers sticky from Bank FU. They hate it.
I don't care.
But
There's
the point I was
plenty of
getting at
banks.
with that,
Just get out of the town and go down to Gallatin or one of these other towns. There's plenty of banks. You don't
point I
have
was
to
getting,
support them.
no, my bank was bought out by First Tennessee Bank, that First Horizons branch. They closed the branch up here in town. I have to go to Gallatin or White House to bank. I'm not moving my money to one of these banks. But the point I was getting,
I'm with the same bank I've been with for 10 years. Regions. I don't worry about it.
But the point I was making with all this is, you can make me out to be the bad guy, and the people behind the scenes can go, "Oh, he's spreading false information. All the stuff he's talking about is not true." When I have the evidence and the documents to prove it, and it's open records. With all that, you're trying to make me be the bad guy. The money and the numbers don't lie. Okay, the point I'm making is, they spend money like we're the Kardashians, and if you follow the money and follow the trail, we were $1.5 million over budget last year. That's not including the money that we owe, that we're going to be paying for the next 20 years. That's not counting the $6 million that they were approved, up to $6 million to borrow also.
It needs to end. The relationship needs to end. Somebody's going to have to end it. And I mean, and again, I know the state bank thing. Imagine if the cities could go to the state for the money.
Wait a minute, I'm not done. And don't forget, we spent almost $8 million on a renovation of City Hall. But wait, there's more. The infomercials, there's more. They're fixing to come with their hands out to the people again, because they're going to have to do a new wastewater facility. But wait, there's more. They're going to be coming to the people again for their hands out, because they're going to want to renovate the police station. It's in the works. All that's in the works. But wait, there's more. And then they're going to come with their hands out, and they're going to want to raise your property taxes again. So you add all that up.
Use the kickback to say, I want to give up my Portland City vote and go to just Sumner County taxes, and y'all guys leave me the hell alone. But again,
I wonder how many of the population would accept that.
What the unfortunate part of this is, the renters, they have no say in it. The rental properties have the tax, and the renters, it's in your rent, people. It is.
And these, and I'm sorry to say, most of our rentees, tenants? Landlords. No, the landlords.
Oh yeah, well, we know most of the landlords bank at Bank FU.
But we have a whole lot of slumlords that are landlords in this town. That of course, these people that are renting have to pay high dollar for these crappy environments, that the taxes are included in that, so you have no say so. I have no pity for the landlords, especially in this town, because there's people paying out there double in rent than what I pay for half of what I have.
Well,
I don't have much.
You're locked in. You're locked into something from how long ago? Mid 2000s.
2011.
Okay, so 2011. You got in. You got in when the markets were down. Got in at a good time. But the people out there that get mad about the discussion, it's like, look, a rising tide lifts all boats. It really does. And right now, you've got suppression, and we're heading into stagflation. You're sucking the life out of these tenants. You're raising taxes all around it's just everywhere. But I mean, that would be a good one to bring up. Maybe that would be a good idea to bring up at a meeting somewhere. About can I turn in my City of Portland vote so that I can get my City of Portland taxes taken off of my tax bill?
Yeah,
that way it would be an interesting concept.
They would just laugh. Yeah, you think we're going to
Oh
let
no,
you?
we got you. You can't move. Well, technically you could sell and move if you're tired of it.
That's why I said if when I brought up last week or week before with this Dillard situation when one of the alder women and the attorney spoke on it, brought up about the verbiage in the charter and changing the charter. They want you to be convinced that it had to do with his situation. But it has to do with them being able to raise your taxes, your land taxes. Because in our charter, it says they cannot charge more than 30 cents on the dollar for your land taxes. But the rumor mill is they want to go to 40 cents. But if your charter says you can't, right? But if they update the charter and change that to 40 cents on the dollar and they all approve it, then they can just go ahead and say, look, we don't have to come with our hands out. We don't have to force you to open your pocketbook. We don't have to hold a gun to your head or a hammer or whatever. We've already changed this in the charter and we're taking it. The bill's going to be in the mail before you know it. That's another reason I tell people to open their eyes and pay attention. Just like with the national media and the government when they're talking about Roe versus Wade or versus the abortion. Where did Rona go? Gone. Flu came back. The Rona flew out and the flew back. Right?
I think it might have all just been the flu in the end. Possible. But
all that is a distraction of what's going on back here.
Oh, no, and I hate man behind the curtain.
The Wizard of Oz.
It just okay. Like for instance, if anybody watching this wants to do some research, Purdue, the Purdue family. If you're not aware of who they are, you've never heard of them, have heard of them, well, good. But very rich family, marketed the Oxycontin like crazy, but they don't like their name out there. Just like the people in this town. There's no difference. They don't like their name out there. And I know your little swimming hole you shown me is out there right near the big powers that be, and they love to tell you how that navigable river is theirs. Was it Drake's Creek up there? They love to tell you how that navigable river is theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's a navigable
river. Even hanging up no trespassing signs.
Oh, tow! No, not even that. No trespassing, and we'll tow your vehicle if you park.
Oh yeah.
But see, is that in the city limits? I'm curious.
No.
Is that out of the city?
No.
Why do they live outside of the tyranny that they assert on everyone? That's what I want to
know. Let's see. Yeah. No, it's county.
Well, that's county. That's county. But that's what they probably hate, that they can't call their buddy cops out there to harass people.
Well, you have what's that? What's that? 8, 10 feet, depending on where you are. What's that area?
The easement.
The easement, right? So they you got road frontage, easement, whatever. They can hang up their no trespassing signs, or we're going to tow your vehicle all they want. But you can walk and park on the easement all you want, right? Mm-hmm. And ain't shit they can do about it. That's like if you look outside, you don't have a sidewalk in front of your house, and there's 10 people walking through your ditch, or they stop there. You can yell at them all day long. You can call the police on them. Guess
It's
what?
an easement.
They're not trespassing. That's not really your property. You're paying taxes on it, but it's not really your property. It's called the easement, and each city or state or county has a
They all have
variation
their
of
different.
how many feet
How
it
many
is.
feet? Yeah.
So
But that's
if you have a question of how many feet, here's a example you
think-
go by. Go find
do
your
you
water
think-
meter, and wherever your water meter sets from the water meter to the road is generally, in that area, is how many feet of road frontage or easement that is not yours, but
that's
it's
the
just
county
public.
or the county or city. But my
just,
thing is, what do you reckon that big shiny house on the hill across from Drake's Creek would be taxed if it was moved into the Portland city limits?
well, that's not the only one. There's multiple of those.
Oh no, I know there's multiple of them.
Yeah.
They keep all their big rich properties outside of the city limits
Well, yeah.
so that they can avert the taxes. They want to press on every small little peons. How dare y'all think you can? You peon! How dare you think you can come over here and swim in Drake's Creek? That's ours because we own the land on this side and that side of it.
Hey, I'll be right back. You keep talking on it. Give me 30.
Let's just.
Give it 45 seconds.
It's dude. No, it's been we've been on over. Come on, man. It's been an hour. I need to smoke. What the hell, man? But no, I want people to think about it in the way of, the rich people live outside of town, and then they want to raise your tax. What Spoon just said, they want was go from 30 cents on the dollar to 40 cents on the dollar. That's a 10% increase in your taxes. This place is absolutely it's sickening and maddening to me when you sit back and think about what these people spend and how much they do. That's why I say, philosophically speaking, the Overton window, Occam's razor, Hegel, it's just, if you just study the basis of that, if you go and you look up some of that stuff, like Plato and the allegory of the cave, that was a great one for me. One of my favorite allegories. But if you go and you just start researching philosophy and you see the picture that these past smart people are painting, and then you stare at it today, it makes it a lot easier today to see the demons for what they are. And you can see all the problems a lot clearer. It opens up your clarity to do research on philosophy. But
sorry, I had this one great reveal I wanted to do. So
one great reveal.
No, I just had to go, dude.
Oh, go. Well,
but before we go, there's one other thing I wanted to hit on. It won't take very long. We can get out of here. Which we just hit the Strawberry Festival weekend in our town, Portland. It's always
what a traffic disaster.
Well, yes, it is. But it's a great event, and this year was, last year was big, considering we had the COVID year that we didn't have it. So this year was. I didn't get to go. My family went. They enjoyed their time, and seemed like we had a whole lot of people there this year, which we always have a lot, but it seemed like this year was even bigger. And I've heard from everybody that it was a huge success, which, like I said, it always is, but this year a little bit more than others. But you got to consider all leading up to that. And it's a great thing for our city, no doubt. When I go, I get to spend a day with the family. I always have a great time. The concerts are great. The groups we had there this year unfortunately, I didn't get to listen to them, but I know two of them, and they're great groups. So I wish I could have been there to listen to them. My favorite thing to do at the Strawberry Festival is the fireworks and listen to the bands, and then watch my kids play. It's the highlights for me. But with all that being said, that was the 81st annual, and this is just something for somebody to think about. I don't know this for a fact. It's just a possibility. If you were to look at the numbers with all that's being said and how people enjoyed the Strawberry Festival, and you seen that it costs $3 million to the city and taxpayers to put on that event every year, but in return you were only making $1 million and you were losing $2 million a year, or you were losing $1 million a year, whatever. Just put in any. I'm not saying this for fact. This is just saying for an example. How long would you want to
carry
continue?
that event on?
Yeah. So it's been 81 years, and I'm not saying that for fact. We may be making money. I don't know. If we're making any profit at all,
that would be a good question to ask. Did you make more money than it cost? Is it a neutral event?
and if you break even, of course it's a no-brainer.
Right.
I mean, it's a great event for the town. It's great for the people. It's great for businesses. If you make profit, even better, right? But what I'm saying is, if you were to find out that you lost a great deal of money every year to put on an event like that, and not just this town, other towns do other things. Same thing. For example, like our swimming pool. Have you been to our swimming pool in our town? No?
Nope.
All right. Nope. It's been in dire need of upgrades for a long time. It's only open about
3 or 4 months.
8 to 10 weeks, somewhere around that range. It opens Memorial Day. If I'm mistaken, it opens Memorial Day weekend. And then it closes before school starts. So you're open June, July, the last week in May, June, July, and it may possibly the first week in August if the kids go back then. So it's 8 to 10 weeks, maybe less than that, depending on when the kids go back and all that. And not saying the pool's not a good thing. I'm not saying that, but I would say year in and year out, with the upgrades that haven't been done and the cost of opening it up and the lack of people going,
attention,
it's really costing you money. Because like even in the 2021 budget, yeah, they spent under the amount, but I think they were only open 4 to 6 weeks that year, because they opened late and they closed early, and you didn't do any upgrades. So is it worth even having it if you don't have the money or to spend to upgrade it, to put the detail in to make it an experience for the people and to turn a profit? Is it even worth the struggle every year? And I'm not putting this in your head either way to say, yeah, we need to get rid of it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying open your mind to thinking about these things, because just because it's something that we've always had or we always done doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing for the city and or the taxpayers. All right. Just like I was trying to think of what one of the other cities have. What's that music fest they have down there, down 24?
Where?
Bonnaroo.
Oh, Bonnaroo.
Bonnaroo.
That's a private thing, though.
Well, I understand, but if you've ever been down there, it's a freaking mess. It's a freaking
Oh God.
mess. And the only reason that it's allowed to go on is because they turn a great deal of profit, right?
Oh sure.
If they didn't, do you think the county and landowners and wherever all that takes place of
Manchester.
that Manchester, yeah. Do you think that they would allow it to go on for their land to get tore up and trash be through the ground and all the violence and the laws being broken if they weren't turning a great deal of profit? Of course not. That's what I'm getting at. So coming off the Strawberry Festival weekend, great. Everybody that I've heard from, it was a great turnout. Everything was good. Our city employees, a personal thank you from me, and I hope all the rest of the citizens of this town, because I know y'all put in the time and the work to set it up, to maintain it, to tear it down and clean up, and there's still some cleanup that left to be done. And with all the money spent and advertising and all that stuff, that's the easy part. The manpower, the long hours, the hard work. That's what it takes to get it done and accomplish it. But with all that being said, that was just something to think about. Even though you've done this for 81 years, if you looked at the numbers year after year and you found out that you were losing a great deal of money instead of breaking even or making money, would you want to continue doing that in your town or any town, whatever town holds what event? So that's pretty much.
No, it would be nice if the pool was nicer in Portland. I don't mind paying for it. I know, you know who in there. She talks about going to Gallatin. I think the pool down there at the where? Yeah, Gallatin's got a nice pool from what she's heard, and
what she's talking about down there by the
on the north side over there, like heading out towards the airport. Or
talking about across from the park over there,
yeah,
next to that's the newest one. Yeah, I mean it's nice. We go several times a year, but I would rather go to my city park and give my money back to the city.
Well, you're just what, a mile from that pool, But what's the better one? Would you rather drive to Gallatin? That's the question.
Well, of course.
Okay, so if you'd rather drive to Gallatin than Portland City Council and Mayor, you're failing.
Well, it's the same as if I want a steak and baked potato restaurant. Am I going to be able to keep my money in Portland?
Is your name?
No.
I thought you were talking about building your restaurant.
No. I'm saying if you want to go out to dinner to a nice restaurant, are you going to be able to keep that money in Portland?
No. I'm going. My money's going to Gallatin.
So
Gallatin, Franklin, White House. I mean, that's where I do most of my shopping because Portland just sucks.
Well, that's the point I'm making across the board. Is I think the people. I don't care who you vote for, if it's Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, or whatever. With everything that's been done in this city, and it's not this current regime's fault, but they're at the helm now, and they're spending more money than we have, and they're borrowing more money than we need to borrow. The city has already failed the taxpayers. You have no retail. You have no restaurants that you want to be able to go sit down and have a good meal with your family. You got to drive to other cities. You got to drive to other cities for retail. You got to drive to other cities for groceries if you don't want to pay sales tax and you want cheaper prices.
That's just Kentucky.
Well, I mean, you're right there. But you're right there.
I know.
You're right there.
Me, please believe me. I do my best to evade them, just like all those rich people who live on the outskirts of town.
I mean, you
try
say
to evade taxes
it's
and act like them. There's a reason they live out there.
You think the people in Chattanooga don't drive across the border of Georgia if it's cheaper there? Of course they do.
Oh yeah, of course they do.
Yeah.
And why? It's because
Alabama or Mississippi, or Arkansas.
That's why. That's all I'm saying. Look at the powers in town. Look where they live. If you say, "Oh, wow, they do live outside of the city limits," why is that? You know, it's because
Well,
they don't want to live over their own oppression. You know,
but
let's
that's what
get
I'm
out
getting at.
from under the thumb.
Most of the people already take the option of they're going to drive to another town, example Gallatin, instead of going to the city pool. They're already going to drive to another town to do a lot of their grocery shopping to save on taxes and cheaper prices. They're forced to drive to another town or city for retail. The people were forced to drive to another town if they want a good restaurant for
Decent
a family.
or a decent bank.
You're
A
forced to drive
decent.
to another town for a decent bank. Your setting administration and mayor is spending more money than the Kardashians probably spend. That's a stretch, but they're spending money like we're the Kardashians. They spent over $8 million on the, or around $8 million on the renovation of City Hall. Now they're going to come to you with their hands out because they want to renovate the police station. They're going to come to your
10%.
they're going to come to you with their
10%
hands
tax
out
rate.
because they want to up build a new or redo the wastewater facility. Then they're going to probably rewrite the charter and pass that so they can come to you for a 10% hike in your land taxes to raise it from 30 cents on the dollar to 40. We spent $1.5 million over budget at least last year. I say they did. That's not counting the monies borrowed and the monies that we owe for the next 20 years. And that's not including the extra $6 million they just voted to borrow on top of all that. I'm saying all that is because if you don't get out and vote and replace this current regime, it's going to be a very bad detriment to the city because this sitting mayor has already took the classes. The city, the taxpayers, has paid for him to get all these classes to be an administrator. He wants to be the last full-time mayor and the city administrator, meaning even if he loses the election, he wants it to where he's going to be the administrator and still have the power, and the next mayor would be a part-time mayor, which virtually, why would you even have a mayor? So if you want the
Talking about the vice mayor. Just messing with you.
what
The
I'm
guy
saying
who
is
loan officer.
no. What I'm
Oh,
saying
you
is
talking about him? Oh, okay.
what I'm saying is Callis, the mayor, wants to be the last full-time mayor of this town, and he wants to be the city administrator. No city ever should have the mayor as the city administrator. And he's setting it up that even if he loses this election or the next election, that if they vote him to be the administrator, which this board will because they vote aye on whatever is brought forth,
Well,
he will still be the city.
You can hope that maybe some of this may help them say, "No, we're not going to do that. Sorry." You know, you do have a life expectancy. You are going to croak one day, and we don't need a permanent new person coming in here. But again, they're not doing good anyway. That's why I don't do hardly any business in Portland. You know,
What I'm saying is, if the people don't wake up and make a change, and maybe they're so blind that they're fine with how everything's going. You're fine with them wasting your money. They're fine with you spending their money. All right, you're fine with them wasting your money. You're fine with the mayor not being the mayor and being a dictator. You're fine with all that. If that's what you want, fine. That's not what I want, though. That's not what probably the majority of the people want. But unfortunately, in this city, the the population doesn't get out and vote. 14.7% got out and voted in the county. That's the county, which is, let's face it, it's bigger than the city, right? Apples and oranges. So if 14%, 14.7%, 14.07% of the county got out and voted in the county elections, how much do you think is going to get out in November and vote in the city elections?
look, you are going to have an increase because that will be for the Congress, Senate, governor. It'll be an increase, but I wonder how much.
It's going to be around 25%. It'll be under 30. And if you go back in history in this town and look, it's generally under 30%. And we have a population of over 13,000 people now. All right. So if we just we'll even go as high as 33%. All right. 33.3. A third of the people get out and vote. All right. So you're going to take a third of that. Say what?
City office. Everybody write me in for city office.
Brian Burgess, I told you send me a message. You need to be running for council. Send me a message. I'll give you a phone number. Yes. So you go ahead and say there's going to be a third of the people get out and vote. There's over 13,000. All right. Do the math. All right. We'll say 4,500 people equal a third. So if 4,500 people get out and vote, there's 9,000 people that didn't vote. And that's being high. If you go by the county elections, it's more like 1,800 people went out and vote. And 11,000 something didn't vote. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't even know we had a county mayor down here or up here in Sumner. I was like, that was so new to me when I was the Rona was going around and everybody's talking about, well, Sumner County mayor says that masks are mandatory, and I was like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
You know, I live in the county for a reason. I'll do my best to be cordial with my sheriffs. I don't really care about you, mayor.
And like I said last week, go look up Our City, Portland, Tennessee on Facebook. That is not the city's website. All right. That's not the city's Facebook page. That's the mayor's own page. So he can put up anything he wants. He's always got pictures and videos of all the great things that's happening that he's doing.
Shit.
And if you don't believe me, here's something you can do. If you know people who work for the city, go talk to them and ask them what they think of the mayor, their boss, and if they want him reelected. All right, just do that. Don't take what I'm saying. I want you to do your own research. We always say that.
I don't.
But go speak to the people who actually work for him, who's employed for him, with him, and see what their intake is with him, because Bank FU loves him. Why? Because he spends money. They get to loan the money. They get to make money. The chamber, they're all linked together. The chamber, Bank FU, the city, and he's got his own Our City Facebook page, so he can have all his photo apps and videos and tell everybody and manipulate and do the politician way live while smiling. All right, I'm about done. And
my cup is out.
You distracted me. You distracted me. Like, I need coffee.
Yeah, I need coffee.
Like I told y'all to go watch. It's awful bit of coincidence that was it last week or 2 weeks ago. I told all y'all if y'all wanted to see what kind of micromanager he was to go back and watch the last planning and zones committee meeting, and then watch the upcoming one. Guess what? I didn't see the mayor there at all. He didn't. If he was there, he didn't stand up and speak one time, because I told you how big of a manager dictator he was turned it into, and he had to stop the meeting here and there and talk there and stop the meeting, call some of them to brown back in the back, and then tell them they had to revote and all that. Ever since I brought it up on the podcast and told you all that, poof, the next committee meeting, if he was there, he never showed his face and he never spoke a word. I wonder if that was by design, So what I'm getting at is follow the numbers, follow the money.
Get the darkness out. You got to put a spotlight on it.
Yeah.
The only thing that drives out the darkness is light.
And I don't know this to be 100% factual, but I believe the people that's told me this, because it's come from more than one people, and they say he said it to where it would be on video. Mr. Callis was a preacher. He's no longer preaching. And supposedly he come out and said, well, God called me to be the mayor full time and to give up preaching. I know you stand on the other side of this, but as a Christian, I don't think God would tell you to stop preaching to his people so you could go be a mayor full time.
Oh my goodness. You're in my camp on this one?
Well, yeah. I mean, God.
Your conscience, that's what I'm saying. Your conscience tells you to do something, and you assume that it's omnipotent. No.
Jesus went and got his apostles and told them to give up earthly things and come be fishers of men. And then you got Mike Callis, the mayor, saying, my God told me to give up preaching so I could be your full-time mayor. He wants me to do great things for this city. I don't think so, buddy.
It's the voice in my head.
I wish I could do the Morgan Freeman voice of God. But, I mean, that would have been hilarious there. But can we get that for next time?
All right, y'all. I'm about ready.
Yeah, I'm about ready. All right. This was episode 12. We'll catch you next Sunday night. Night episode 13.
Yep, night episode. Booze.
Well, booze for you. We'll have some good information coming next week.
I want the nighttime to be more lighthearted. More of a get drunk and talk stupid shit. But all right, man.
You get drunk. I'll talk stupid. All right, we're out.
All right.
Appreciate y'all.